Hello, SolarLune here. It's been a while. It's been a little while since the last update video, probably months and months. Uh, yeah, it's been a while. I've been busy, man. I've been sick. Like I got sick 2 different times between November and December, both for like a week and some change. Like 2 separate times. I've been busy. Life has been busy, but I'm still working on stuff. So I'm the creator of Tetra 3D. I'm the creator of Master Plan, and I am the creator of this UI library called Gooey. Gooey is a UI library made for Ebi Tenjin games made in the Ebi Tenjin Golang framework. Great framework for making games. And so yeah, I thought I would make a UI framework. So this is something that I've actually been using for this adventure game that I've been working on for a while. You've probably seen it on this channel or on my Twitch stream, SolarLune. It's not solarlune.com, twitch.tv/solarlune twitch. But yeah, I've been working on it periodically, and the UI library for that is this, but this is a newer version. I've been kind of updating it. So this is kind of showing what I've been working on. So existing UI libraries do exist for Ebi Tenjin, but they're not what I was looking for. I'm looking for something that is tailored to be simple, easy to use, flexible, and really kind of like ideally focused toward games that are fixed resolution, because most games made with Ebi Tenjin, at least games that I would like to make, have fixed resolutions. Like, you know, you're making a PS1 style game, SNES styled game, Game Boy styled game. These aren't games that like get bigger as you expand the window, right? Like they're probably like, you know, 256 by 224 or 320 by 240 or 360, you know, whatever. They probably have fixed resolutions. So that's what I've been kind of like, those are the kinds of things I've been thinking about as I make this UI framework. So this is kind of like a deep dive. It's not really a deep dive, a surface level examination, the opposite of a deep dive, as we look at what this framework looks like and how to use it, how I use it for these little examples. So firstly, we just initialize the framework. We say the screen size, and then we just do a couple things. We call gooey.update every frame, indicating our keyboard inputs and whether we want to use mouse or not. I have that disabled right now, but you can use mouse. And then we just have to call gooey.begin and end in the draw function and issue our gooey calls. And of course, draw the gooey texture to the screen to see what we're drawing. But that's it. So looking at this first example, this is the code to make this example happen, which is fantastic. Super simple, super easy. We create a layout, which is like a rectangle or an area for the UI to live in. We position it, and then we just create our flat color object and put it right there in the layout. That's it. If we want to change the color, we can do so here. Now it's yellow. And by default, it fills up the entire layout. So this entire rectangle is filled with this flat color drawing UI element. But let's go and look at something a little more complicated. This is a button. So much more applicable, much more interesting, but pretty simple. Still, the code is pretty easy. So we're creating a layout, we're positioning it, and then we create a UI button object, and we're specifying some properties. One is the click color, which is red, but if we don't specify anything, by default it will be a sensible, just darker color. That's fine. And for graphics, we can pass an individual UI element, or we can pass a collection, which is basically multiple UI elements. And in this case, we pass our image and our label. So the image is the background of the button, which is a 9 patch, and the label is the text. Now, a 9 patch, if you're unfamiliar, is basically an individual image that can be stretched on the sides to keep a relative, you know, good proportion, right? A relative good proportion. So you can see this here. This is our GUI texture, and this is the background of the button. But as you can see, the corners are left normal while the sides stretch, so that we get a nice even look on the button, nice and clean, nice and high resolution, so to speak, rather than being, you know, kind of janky. If we did not do this and we wanted it to be janky, we could do this, stretch mode, stretch. And so there you go. Yeah, it's better to go with a 9 patch, I think, for this. So that's the concept, pretty simple. And as you can see, we have a little bit of an immediate mode approach to things where we're defining the way a button looks as well as the way it is positioned, all in a single function. We're not setting this stuff up ahead of time and then like storing those states and storing the objects we make by using IDs. The state of the UI is stored between frames, so we don't have to worry about it too much. So it's nice and easy. And the add to function for the UI button, instead of just adding the element to the layout like before, like in this flat simple example, it also returns a boolean. So this basically becomes like a if I press the button, then do this function line. So it becomes very, very nice and easy. So it says hello. On the next example, we have a button list. So this is getting a little more deep into the layout function system. We can specify a function that handles where the UI elements draw on our screen. So we have a set layout function, and Gooey comes with one to make a grid. So the elements are 500 by 40. All the buttons are 500 by 40. And all we got to do after setting the element, setting the layout function rather, and aligning it is just draw. Just draw to the screen, to the layout. That's what it looks like. Nice and simple. Clean. What we can also do is, since this is a grid function, we can actually, of course, make this a grid by just making the buttons thinner. So if we go ahead and say, oh, we want it to be 250 instead of 500, now they don't fill up the entire area, the entire layout, and we get a nice setup like this. Whoops. Yeah. So this looks good. This works well. Thinking about it now, I guess it's possible that you might want a button, for example, like you might want the button list to go further to the right. I want to implement scrolling, but that's later, and I hadn't considered, like, what if you want UI to extend out of range of a layout? That's something to think about. I have an immediate idea of how to solve that, but it's not critical enough, or I don't think it's something that you would want to do enough for it to be a problem immediately. We'll see. There's a couple ideas, but anyway, this is fine. So this allows us to simply draw a basic UI. Very cool. In this case, we're doing another collection for the graphics for the button, and we're specifying the frame, the label, as well as an icon. So we have a little icon there, that little gray triangle. And it works the same as before, where we can press the buttons. Very cool. Something that I like is that you can press the next button or tab and the previous button or shift and tab to cycle. So you don't have to go just in the cardinal directions. You can go in order, essentially, from top left to bottom right. Very cool. Something that Godot, I think, does, and I like the idea, so I'm cribbing it for this. Next example, we have a custom layout. So you can customize the layout and say, oh, I want to make my own thing. This is such a thing. The buttons are arranged in a circle, which is very cool. Very Secret of Mana, very dope. It's very cool that you can do this kind of thing, and the code is super duper simple. Once again, all you're doing is just setting the position of the buttons. That's it. Everything else is the same. Nothing special. If you want a wider button, just make the buttons wider. So I guess something that I'm thinking about now, all the things I'm doing are basically all the elements are about the same size. All the buttons are a single size. You can make the buttons different sizes depending on the index, depending on whether it's selected or not, different things like that. But I think this is fine. This is fine for now, I believe. But yeah, it's still room for improvement, but this is still really cool. I like this. I think that this is very clean. It's very easy. It's very logical, sensible, works well. So you have a lot of control. And if you wanted to control only some element, you can do that. A lot of the UI elements, if not all of them, have a layout modifier field that you can pass a layout function to. So you can modify, for example, just buttons, or just a button that you're adding. So the layout function applies normally, but then you can say, oh, I want to modify it and be like, oh, only the first button moves, or only the second button is wider, or something like that. That could be cool. Like, for example, you could say, you know, I'm not going to do it now because I'm thinking about it, but you could, well, I can do this. I can say if index is equal to 3 rect.w times equal 4, and then return the rectangle. So now the fourth button is wide. Yeah, 0, 1, 2, 3. Cool. Do that with the highlighted button, and now you're living large. That's cool, right? That's kind of interesting. Even more so if you were to maybe make the text only visible if the button was wide. Okay, so now you have an icon until you select the button, then it becomes text. Very cool. You could do different things like that, or at least that would be cool to implement the ability to do for me as the developer of the UI library. But this is fine. This is fine for a start. I'm still working on it. Next up, we have sliders. So yeah, you have sliders, very cool sliders. Very useful for audio, video, you know, sliders, or audio sliders. Yeah, I guess video sliders too, if you have like quality settings, something like that. Very nice. Something that I like is, or something I'm doing here is setting a layout function once again. And in this case, we're just setting the height of the slider bar and then positioning them. And we return that rectangle. So the original rectangle is the entire layout, and we're just saying, okay, well, instead of that entire layout, let's just return a small portion of it. So we're partitioning. Works very well. We can also get the state of each individual slider using the layout's UI element function, which will return the instance of the UI element as it was drawn. And then you can extract the state and see, for example, the percentage so that the text can be updated. And we're also using a layout modifier here to move the label so that the labels are not dead center over the heads of the sliders, but rather they're lower. If we don't use a layout modifier, they're just going to be dead center, which is fine. You might want that. But if you don't, you can use a layout modifier or a draw options property on the UI label to position them, move them down. Very cool. For the next example, we have a custom draw example, which basically allows you to draw things that Gooey does not have. So in this case, we're drawing vector circles, concentric circles to the screen. So it's very cool. And you can see here the idea, the dream is to be able to reuse a lot of stuff and to just do so through structs. So in this case, this function, this custom draw object is a struct, of course, and it is a function. But you see we're calling circle.add2 to add it to the left layout here, CDL. But then we're also doing the same thing here to add it to the right layout, CDR. And all we got to do is just call it again. Just circle.add2, circle.add2. And so we're able to reuse all of this setup. We have a color shift variable that controls, the color shifting, how far along in the shift the colors are. And just by adding 2 and then calling circle.add2 again, we get different colors, right? Different colors at different times. Super easy, super simple. So much code reuse, it's unbelievable. That's fantastic. And for our final example, we have a layout map, because sometimes you want, or frequently you probably would want some kind of like set of layouts, not just one. So you might want, for example, like, oh, I want the main menu in this area, and then I want maybe a picture, like let's say you have a adventure game where you go and talk to people. You might have a message window at the bottom. You might have a portion for maybe images that draws on the right, and then maybe you'll have a spot for 2 different buttons like maybe yes and no, or maybe different choices, right? Like it would be nice to be able to create a layout system or a system that creates different areas for these options, for these things to draw. And so that's what this is for. So you can say, for example, this is all one layout. All of the A's in these strings, that's one layout. All of the B's, that's another layout. All of the C's, that's another layout. And so you can see it becomes different squares of different proportions and positions in our UI. And the original size, this is the same as we've always been working with, 500 by 200. So we are starting with 500 by 200, and then we're splitting that up using this layouts from strings function. So now you can be like, okay, well, this is going to be my message. This is a message window. This is going to be my portrait window. This is going to be my choices window. Very cool, very simple, very easy. And this, just saying this out loud makes me feel like, oh, this would be a cool game if you had like different squares that indicate different things about your person that you're talking to, and you filled them in over time with different tools. Like, oh, this is the text, this is the portrait, and then maybe like this is like a biometric readout, this is like eye scan, this is like fingerprints, this is like skin sensitivity, what's it called, the salinity in your skin that indicates like whether they're sweating and stuff. So like your each of these layouts becomes something that you're like equipping to understand the person, to see if they're lying, or where's the information. And it's very cool. That kind of concept is cool, and it feels like looking at other games, like how would you do that kind of UI? It's super easy if you have this kind of system. So anyway, this is Gooey. Whoops. Sorry. This is Gooey. I've been working on it I've been like improving it for the past couple weeks, and it's gotten pretty good. I'm happy with it. It's super clean. It's not perfect, but it's super duper clean, and I'm super happy with it so far. So yeah, if you want to check it out, please check out github.com/SolarLune/Gooey. If you want to make games with it, check out Ebitension and Gooey. This isn't out yet, but it's close. I might push it today or like tomorrow. It's pretty much done. There's still a couple things I want to do. I want to add scrolling. I want to add editable text boxes. I had that feature in previously, but in the refactor I got rid of it. So that would be cool to add, because that's part of games, right? Typing in texts. Yeah, so there's still a couple things to do, but it's pretty good so far, I think. And I'm happy with it. So yeah, thank you very much for watching. I've been SolarLune. Look at this. Look at this. Look at buddy. Look at this, buddy. Look at that. Look at that. Look at it here. Look at. Ooh. Look at. Ooh. look. Ooh. Look at that. Look at that. Look at that highlight. Automatic highlighting, brother. Y'all don't know. Look at this. Look at this. This is how it used to be. Look at this. Look at this. This is how it used to be. You set a layout. You had to manually set the grid elements yourself. You say, back in my day, we set the grid. We set the item width. We set the item height. We set the divided count. We set the divided padding. Huh. Look at that. Look at that there. Now that I think about it, I might need padding. I might need some padding. But I mean, like, look at this, man. I had manual like highlighting. This is complicated. Just button width, style width with padding. Bro, come on, man. Get set highlight options. This was the old system. Look how complicated it was. You have to manually set like highlight options, and it was a lot. In comparison, this is drastically simpler. Crazy. It's crazy how much better it is. Look at this. It's crazy how simple it is. And the highlighting is just like it's just schmoving, dude. Anyway, check it out. I'll see if I can push out an update that has this GUI available, the new version soon, because I feel like there's just not really a lot of tools out there that does this, but maybe I'm wrong. But I'm happy to push this out. And yeah, if you want to make games with it, make games with it, brother. Yeah, thank you very much for watching. I've been SolarLune. I'll catch you guys on the flip side next time, and I hope you have a wonderful day. See ya. Oh, and I'm still working on master plan. Do not get it twisted. See ya.